The sun has been shining and the rain has been scattered here in Kentucky. We've been out in the garden planting up our vegetables. Today we are doing some outdoor homemaking, so come along with me as I use what we have to create an inviting and useful outdoor space full of fresh flowers, herbs, and vegetables. The bounty of harvest we will receive from planting these seeds now will be so rewarding in the months to come, and I can't wait to show you all how to create some garden fresh recipes for your families. The weather was so perfect for planting the garden this past weekend, so me and my youngest son got out and started to plant some of our tomatoes and peppers. We started these seeds indoors in our little greenhouse, and we have been growing them for probably 8 to 10 weeks now, so they're at a pretty good size, and it's just now warm enough that I feel comfortable with putting them out in the garden. So we had several different tomato plants, some green tomatoes, some Roma tomatoes, and then we did some bell pepper and jalapeno pepper. So me and my littlest got out there and dug some holes. He really enjoyed helping me get these out in the garden. If you are not able to start any vegetables from seed, don't worry. Now is a great time to purchase some from a local greenhouse. The plants will actually be a little bit more mature and they're already hardened off, and you can plant them straight in the ground. But if you already have a garden space prepared, you could always start some seeds now as well for beans, cucumbers, squash, and many other warmer weather vegetables and seeds that are easy to grow straight in the ground. You could also use some containers or put some of your favorite vegetable plants in those and just sit them out on your porch or your patio. They can be both useful and beautiful for your outdoor space. This year I chose to plant up several Roma tomatoes, bell peppers, and jalapenos. They are great for making homemade salsas, which are so delicious. You can add them to pasta salads or homemade loose leaf salads, and you can also make up some batches of homemade pasta sauce. For the past several years, we've also learned to ferment our jalapenos, which have been a really great way to preserve them. They stay nice and crisp and crunchy, and I love just taking a scoop of our fermented jalapenos and adding those into a homemade salsa or into chili or anything like that over the winter. It's a nice warm touch to a meal. And also, they're really great for your stomach and your gut health, with the probiotics being in the fermented jalapenos. I really love to just have some fresh sliced tomatoes, whether they be yellow tomatoes, green tomatoes, red tomatoes, with some of our homemade biscuits and gravy. That is just a classic staple over the summer for our breakfast. And also, I really love to fry the green tomatoes. That's a pretty common thing here to do in the South. I think everyone's heard of fried green tomatoes down here, so that's one of my favorite things to also do with our green tomatoes. Here I'm just adding some cages to go ahead and just be quick to get those cages up around the tomatoes before they start getting huge, because they grow very quickly. So we already had these cages made up. I just had to stick them into the ground over the tomatoes and they were ready to go. I haven't sown any marigolds out in the garden yet, but I do plan to add some marigolds and some basil and some other things around these plants just to help deter the pests and the bugs, and just to add a nice touch of color to the garden. So that is on my to-do list in the coming weeks. Last year, I started to use this old wheelbarrow that we had for a planter, and it was one of my favorite garden features. I loved it. I planted it pretty early, and all of the flowers just filled it up and then spilled out over the side, and it was just kind of one of those whimsy garden elements. So this year, I decided to create another garden bed inside of this wheelbarrow, and I planted it up with just one of these little spikes. And it's under a big tree, so I did some shade-loving plants like coleus and impatiens and some creeping jenny. So those will grow pretty big. I know they're really small right now, but they're more affordable to buy small at the greenhouse. So I bought them small because I know that I'm going to add Miracle Grow, and they're going to just fill out this entire wheelbarrow. So I'm not worried about it right now, because I know that as the season continues, they will fill out that wheelbarrow and just continue to spill over the side. And I can't wait to show you all in a few weeks just how much they've grown and how beautiful that this can be. If you have anything like that just sitting around and you think, what am I going to do with this? Or maybe I should get rid of it or throw it away. Just think about what you could possibly use it for. I love finding old wagons, wheelbarrows, old metal buckets, just things like that to plant up and use as garden planters. I think they're just so cute and rustic and cozy. We have a really great local greenhouse, and I feel like that their flowers and plants are super affordable. Like I said, it was cheaper to purchase these smaller. One thing about Creeping Jenny that I do want to let you all know is that you can actually, if it was in a bigger container, but you can actually split it at the root and kind of tear it apart into smaller plants. So keep that in mind if you are going and looking at different flowers. And this is something that I've just learned over the course of the years of trying to create container flower pots and things like that. And it's really resourceful to know about the plant that you're purchasing, because you need to know how big it's going to be, if it's going to be, how large or how much space it's going to take up, because those impatiens get really big, the coleus get really big, and then the Creeping Jenny, like I said, you can split and they really spread out quite a bit. So when you're first planting up your planter, you think you might need a lot more plants than what you actually need, but give it a few weeks, a month even, and then mix up some Miracle-Gro every couple of weeks, and everything starts to fill out. So you really don't need quite as much as you might think you do. Something else that I really like to do whenever I'm creating these container pots with flowers is to get them out of my greenhouse where I store them over the winter. I wash them, and then I just kind of set them out wherever I'm thinking about putting them. So I have several set out on my patio and some on my front porch. And then of course the wheelbarrow, and just different spaces around the yard, the backyard, the porch, the patio. And I like to go around after I'm done setting where I want my containers and take pictures of where everything is at, because then I can know how much light I'm getting in that specific area and which plants I need to purchase at the greenhouse based on where the container is going to be. And also just the different colors. Here I wanted to use some pink to match with the coleus. The coleus has some pink and some lime green, so I mixed some of the lime green coleus with the pink and the impatiens, and I just think that those colors will look really pretty together. So that's also just some tips that you might want to think about whenever you are going and getting your flowers from the greenhouse, is exactly how much light that they're going to get and where exactly that you're planning on putting them. I absolutely love these window boxes that my husband had built for me several years ago. I've had them for a really long time. They're just wooden boxes that they're painted white, and since we've moved, they used to be hanging under our windows at our previous home, but now I just sit them out on our patio because we have this kind of brick wall. And that area specifically does get quite a bit of sun. I haven't actually purchased the flowers to put in there yet, but I typically go with some petunias, and they're just really pretty because they love the sun and they also just flow over the side and kind of hang down that brick wall. So I really like the way that that looks, hanging beneath the green ferns as well. Like I said before, even if you don't have a garden space that you can use, there's always purchasing some containers and putting some strawberry plants or some tomato plants in those containers and just sitting them out on your porch or your patio. No matter where you are, you can grow things for yourself. So we love to do this. We love planting up blueberry bushes and apple trees. We've got peach trees, raspberry bushes, blackberry bushes. And it's so simple. You don't have to have a lot of land to just add those elements to your yard, and you can enjoy those fruits and vegetables for years to come. Growing a garden is not very hard, and it just takes a little bit of work, but it's very enjoyable, and there are so many wonderful things that come from it. We thank you all so much for watching this. Please like and subscribe to our channel and follow along. We hope you all have a great day.